Their quarterback, Matthew Stafford. What do you have on him, speaking of futures and Stafford?
23.5 is the line at ESPN Bet for the number of passing touchdowns Stafford has this year. He's been, I see you doing that, over it in 2 of the 4 seasons he's played with Sean McVay in LA. One of those seasons was wrecked by injury. He only played 9 games. But go back to 2021 when he had a prime Cooper Kupp, a prime Robert Woods. They added Odell Beckham Jr. That team could absolutely throw the rock. I think this Rams team for 2025 is set up most similarly to that 2021 team because you have prime Puka Nacua, and although Devontae Adams is not in his prime, he is still a surgeon, precise surgeon running his routes out there. Him and Stafford should have a great kind of chemistry, especially in the red zone, because Puka is not necessarily dominant as far as scoring touchdowns in the red zone. Devontae Adams still, every time you target him inside the 5 or 10 yard line, he is creating separation and scoring TDs. So I think Stafford has a big number as far as TD passes this year.
Now, I found it interesting. You guys actually spoke before the show about the Rams, and Tyler, you had a specific question for Field. What was it?
Well, yeah, I asked Field. I hit him up, said, Field, how do I get into your country club first and foremost? Do you have a member guest partner?
I thought
I'm shopping. I'm shopping, boys. But I said, Field, where would you rank the Rams as far as Super Bowl contenders this year? And this is what you sent me, right?
Yeah, it was. And to be clear, this was before the Kona big waves, which this was last night over dinner, okay? So I said 7 for the Rams. And he asked me, he said, just off the top of your head, just rattle up.
Do not think.
Just go. And I had the Eagles and the Ravens. Obviously, the Jair Alexander move makes me feel even a little bit more comfortable with that Ravens being at the very top of the list. I think 7 is about where I have the Los Angeles Rams. This team is gritty, and they get after it in that pass rush up front on defense.
So 7 is what you think they are in terms of possibilities.
What do you think?
What are the numbers?
So that's why I asked Field. If you agree with Field, and I do, there is value on betting the Rams to win the Super Bowl right now because they are 10th on the odds board at 20-1. There's a couple of teams that you did not put in front of them, like the Cincinnati Bengals and the San Francisco 49ers, that have much shorter odds. And it sounds like you think there's a better chance the Rams go to the Super Bowl than those 2 teams. So right here, they're tied with the Packers. You see that? According to Field, and I agree, they should probably be closer to right here, 16-1 near the Commanders. Maybe move the Bengals down to 21 and put the Rams there.
I would even move the Niners down.
I agree with that.
Very favorable schedule for the Niners this year, but I hear you guys.
The point here is there's value, I think, right now on betting the Rams to win the Super Bowl until they get closer to 16-1, 15-1. Maybe that's the time.
And that young defense that started to come on at the end of last year, they've got everything.
Did you guys hear Teron Armstead, the longtime Saints and most recently Dolphins offensive tackle, who has now retired? He said yesterday, they asked him on Sirius XM radio, who were some of the guys that gave you fits? And he basically was like, Jared Verse from the Los Angeles Rams was one of the guys that made me think long and hard about retirement. He will be a defensive player of the year one day. Mark Teron Armstead's words. He was a 2-time All-Pro offensive tackle. That means a lot to me.
Oh, by the way, Jared Verse, 16-1 for defensive player of the year.
This guy is always ready.
I mean, he's got
think about it. Just think about it.
Literally a walking market. By the way, were you tampering at dinner? I thought we had a commitment. I'm
a free agent.
I thought we had an oral commitment to join.
You guys want to duke it out?
You offer me dinner, I'm in.
What are you betting with the Kansas City Chiefs? Those were some odds. Here's some others.
So 11.5 is their win total. That's tied with a few other teams like the Bills and Ravens for highest in the NFL this season. And you'll note that in 7 of the last 10 seasons, the Chiefs have won 12 or more games. It's not usually wise to bet against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. However, this year I would consider betting under 11.5. A few reasons why. Let's start with their schedule. It's not an easy schedule. It is a rather difficult schedule. They're a first-place team. The AFC West, I think the Raiders got much better. I think the Broncos should be better. Year 2 of Sean Payton and Bo Nix. And I think the Chargers should be better. Year 2 of the Jim Harbaugh experience.
That's right.
Okay, so their entire division got better. They play the Eagles. They play the Ravens. They play the Lions. They play the Bills. They play the Commanders. These are all teams that are playoff caliber teams from a year ago outside of their division. And then the big reason why, Matt Barrie, we should consider and under, I'm not saying they're going to win 6 or 7 games, but 10 to 11, is that they were 11-0 in one-score games last year. They did not lose a single one-score game. That's the type of number that can see some wild regression from one year to the next. Maybe they don't block a field goal to beat Denver.
Sure.
Maybe they don't have a last-second touchdown to beat another team. So it's not for the faint of heart to bet against them, but I would consider under 11.5.
And by the way, 11-6 gets you in the post.
100%.
So anyone who's getting yelled in,
100%.
11-6.
Still win the division with that.
All right, you're also going to be part of our